3-minute rounds.
All times when I say break, step back cleanly, no hitting behind the back of the head, no hitting behind you. Touch gloves, good luck to both of you.
12 months a pro, Scotty Cardle. The young man from Lytham St Anne's, who carries a Scottish accent. His parents were Scottish, but he was born south of the border, but picked up his parents' accent.
Round one.
Got teased a lot for that at school. Said, maybe that's where I learned to become a boxer. And a pretty good boxer as well. Terrific amateur. Boxed in a couple of world championships. And earned a little bit of a reputation for himself as a knockout artist. Something that hasn't yet translated into the pro game. 9 fights, he's won them all. May have won every single round, but only a couple of stoppages. He's using this as a tune-up for a fight in about 3 weeks' time, 3 or 4 weeks' time, up in Blackpool, where he'll be boxing for the English title against Maxi Hughes. He said he wanted to have a workout against a southpaw. That's what he's got. Yves Mesny of France, who has an overall winning record, but is a win-one, lose-one type, but is said to be pretty tough and durable.
You know, I think they're doing the right thing with Cardle. I think he's a terrific prospect. There's a lot to like about him. They're giving him a good mixture of opposition. You know, they're not sending him out with one journeyman after another where you don't really learn too much. You know, a good mixture. They're bringing foreigners in to face him. Here we have a foreign southpaw, which, to be honest, we don't know an awful lot about. So yeah, they're putting him in with people who can pose some problems. He has to work to beat them, and so far he's done that without a hitch.
Mesny looking to pour it on a little bit here, but just getting picked off by Cardle. He's picked up a couple of cuts in recent fights. He'll be watching that, because he doesn't need to be cut in this one, and maybe lose out on that Central Area title fight. Not the English title fight, which I said earlier, excuse me. It's the Central Area title fight against Maxi Hughes. He doesn't want to jeopardise that.
Yeah, we're calling this a little tune-up before the title fight, but Scotty Cardle better not be thinking about it along those lines. You have to take everything serious in there. And early impressions of the Frenchman, he doesn't look too bad. He looks ambitious, he looks strong. Maybe not as quick as Cardle, but defended well there.
Well, he did time that hook to the body nicely, the left hook there, Cardle. That did get through. He's stocky and strong, though, this Frenchman. They do have a common opponent in Karim Alish. Both of them outpointed him. One over 6, one over 8. It's Cardle over 6. So that's not going to give us much in terms of a form guide. Cardle looking to try and open him up there. Straight through with the right hand.
He's nice and relaxed, Cardle, over the longer distance fights. That's a big plus. You don't want to be burning up nervous energy or forcing the punches. You know, that nice relaxed style, good movement. As you were saying, he hasn't produced the knockout power as a pro as yet, but that will come.
There's a nice left hook there that just seemed to shake Mesny up a little bit. Good variety in this opening round from Scotty Cardle. Use of the right uppercuts, and a left hook off the back end of it as well.
Hold your breath while you're punching, moving around. Just relax a little bit now, all right? Okay. Yeah. I know it's like 4 rounds. Do you know what I mean? In a 100-meter sprint, use your skills. It's quite basic. He's just looking to jab you as you're lifting your head up, all right? Yeah. Okay. When he jabs, I want you to slip on the outside, but let the right hand go. It's working lovely as you're coming out this side. So when you jab and he jabs, just drop that right hand in on there, lovely, all right? As he comes towards you, lift that little right hook into the pit here. Okay. Okay. You'll catch him lovely with it because he's very square on. Another drink, all right?
Joe Gallagher with the tactics.
And then drive it in. And when you drove it in, roll the head, all right? Okay. Just square on, coming towards you. Lovely work. Good lad. All right.
It's a busy night for Joe Gallagher. He's already seen Callum Smith win inside a round. And a little bit later on, there's Anthony Croller looking to gain revenge over Derry Matthews. Round 2 of this one, Scotty Cardle from Lytham St Anne's in the black against Yves Mesny, the tough Frenchman. Cardle showing us some good stuff in that opening session. Can he keep it going here in this 4-rounder? The frustration there showing from Mesny, who's just getting picked off and beaten to the punch time after time here.
But at least he's getting annoyed, which is a good sign. I mean, you know, when you have foreigners coming over who don't get annoyed, sometimes you think it's just a payday they're looking for. But no, it's nice to see him getting annoyed, and he's trying to get himself into this. Cardle just looking too cute for him at the moment.
I like his timing, Jim. He's looking very sharp here. Just as I say that, of course, he misses with the right uppercut, but he's landed some good shots, and his rhythm and his timing look very good tonight.
He does like to drop his hands as he's looking at the opponent to see what punches are coming at him. You wonder maybe if that's something he can, he can do when he wants to do it, but refrain from it when he steps up in class. It's always a danger, leaning forward into range and dropping your hands, but he's good at it, and at this level certainly it's working.
From a sporting family, fancied his hand at football earlier in his career as a youngster, and boxing took over. His brother Joe is a professional boxer. He's just been laid off by Dunfermline Athletic, who are in financial trouble, and Scotty Cardle will be in a bit of trouble if he takes another left hand like that.
He seemed to go over on his ankle just before that and lost his concentration a little bit. But that was one of the little instances, I say, when your hands are not up. I mean, that's a punch that he should have been able to block, but his hands weren't high enough to do that. Well, Mesny still looking determined. Pretty basic, but determined.
As long as, there's a cut. I mean, Scotty Cardle doesn't need this. There is some kind of damage. I think it's under his left eye. We need to get a real good look at that, but Cardle doesn't need this. Mesny this time just goes in really crude. Cardle, I think, knows that there's a bit of damage there.
Yep, it looked as though he was wiping blood away and then looking over to the corner. Yep. Is it a little mouse or is it leaking? Thankfully, it seems to be below. Seems to be below the eye, whatever it is.
He doesn't need that. Not with a central area title fight weeks away. So this hasn't gone according to the script. A nice little tune-up. Not turning out that way so far. Ed Robinson is with our studio guests. Ed.
Well, Paul, how much of a worry is that cut for a start?
It's a big worry, and I hope it's not a bad one, because he's obviously got the central area title fight coming up against Maxi Hughes in Blackpool. I was talking with Jamie about this before, whether there was a need to take this fight, but he took this fight because his opponent is a southpaw. It's a chance to get in there with southpaw competitive action and to get your eye in, so to speak, with someone who's going to be fighting similar to style to the opponent in a few weeks for the title. But I just hope the cut's not a bad, and I hope Scott doesn't worry about it too much. He's got a good team and a good corner there. Focus on the boxing, try and stay long, try and keep it long, and just box and just win the last few rounds and take the win, and hopefully heal up nice and then get in your title fight.
Thank you, Paul.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is a worry. Hopefully it's just a little bit of superficial damage there, but you saw his reaction, as you say, Jim. He just pawed at it and glanced at his corner as if to say, oh no, we didn't need this. But hopefully it's not going to take his mind off the job. He can carry on and just get through these 2 rounds. He'll be happy enough now, I think, Cardle. This has been trimmed down to 4 rounds from the originally scheduled 6. Because Mesny is tough and a bit crude. And when you've got an opponent like that, anything can happen. And now Mesny's making a great big fuss about something.
No, he's come out without
that's
the gum
what it is,
shield.
yeah. Well, as you do.
I don't know what happened there. Did the second put it in his own mouth by mistake? I don't know what happened there. That's an unusual one.
It certainly was. Mesny put his hand up to acknowledge it. And we go on. He's come to have a brawl here. We're getting through with the right hand again there, Mesny.
Yeah, he has a kind of awkwardness about him.
Cardle lands a left hand of his own to try and keep him at bay, but now he's missing with the uppercuts. I think there's a little bit of tension in his work now, which I'm sure is a result of that cut.
So I think Cardle throws a lot of his punches on his toes. I think if they want to increase his power, he's going to have to set himself a little bit more. I mean, if you're good enough, I mean, you don't need knockout power, but you want to gain the respect of opponents. And if you're moving around in your toes, you're not really, you don't have the weight shift to get the power. So probably when he sets himself, you'll get a bit more snap, because they're looking at him physically. He looks very strong. He looks capable of producing a bit more power.
Well, I think some of his confidence has gone as well. Missing with some shots here in this third round, the kind of shots he wasn't missing in the opening round. I'm sure that cut is bothering him mentally.
Yep, I think it might be the attitude. Just get through this.
That was better.
When you have to look upon this as an important a fight as the next one, so make sure you win this, which he's doing. But keep your mind on this. Forget about what's ahead, what may take place, or whatever. That was good.
Mesny's certainly come to give it some, there's no question about that. Oh, making him miss there, but look, boring in, head first again.
There you go, quick counters now. He's blowing now, Scott. Them body shots don't like it. Put it on him now.
A look of frustration there from Mesny. You know, he's just throwing a lot of punches, not landing. Just sheer frustration.
Better defensively, he's made Mesny miss quite a bit in this round. But Mesny's maintained a very high tempo and is happy to mix it up and grind and spoil. That cut doesn't look too bad. Fingers crossed for Scotty Cardle, and indeed for Maxi Hughes. He doesn't want to lose the fight either. There's another round in the bank, you would think, for Scotty Cardle. Just one more after this.
You're hurting him every time you catch him in that shot, see? That right hook to the body.
Well,
that jab, just
it's what he didn't need. That's the one thing he didn't need today, Scotty Cardle. A bit of facial damage. Hopefully it's not too serious. Was it a punch? Was it a clash? Let's see if we can go back and have another look at that.
Yeah, well, it's a worry for the fight next month, but it's also a worry for the future career. I mean, it was just a kind of slashing right hand. It wasn't a clash of heads or whatever. It just seemed to tear the skin. So I think the long range worry is, you know, is he going to have vulnerable flesh around the eyes? That's a great pity. A kind of slashing, glancing punch just seemed to cause the trouble.
And he was pulling away from it as well, which wouldn't have helped.
But it doesn't look serious, thankfully.
And final round.
The last round of this entertaining lightweight battle. Scotty Cardle in the black, Yves Mesny of France, who's never boxed out of his native France, but might well get invited back to the UK because he's a tough nut, he's willing, he's game, and he's not short on talent, and a little better than his 4-3-1 record would suggest. Certainly Scotty Cardle has been unable to put a dent in him. That's after he picked him off pretty much at will in that opening session. And we were purring about the smoothness of him. Been a different story since that cut. That's better, much better. All the quality and real class is with Cardle, no question about that.
He dug those two punches in. Those were solid looking shots. And the Frenchman backing off, covering up.
Yeah, Mesny really feeling this. It was that combination counter that really started to opening up, and Mesny felt a right hand there and dipped right down. Just managed to avoid hitting the floor there as Cardle looks to just burn off some frustration here and try and get this fella out of there.
Mesny did well staying up right there. That last right hand was a good punch. Solid.
Now can Cardle go for the finish? Mesny looking a bit wild. And again, Cardle punishes him with a nice two-punch combination upstairs.
Although it's only 4 rounds, I think Mesny's tiring with the amount of missing that he's done and forcing his punches. And every mistake he's made, he's been punished for it. So it's really been a frustrating night for him.
Jim Cardle really letting him go here in this last round. I mean, he looked a little bit tentative and just sort of saying, well, let's get through it in the last round, but he's really unloaded with some snap behind his punches in this 4th round, getting through again.
Yeah, well, maybe he's got his mind back on this job and as opposed to the one that he thinks he's lost. Still, we'll see. As I say, it doesn't look serious. What you have to worry about with a cut that's not serious, will it stop him from sparring for the next fight? If that's the case, then you don't want the fight because you want to be preparing properly. So although the injury would be okay on the night, if it means he can't spar in preparation, then I would suggest forget about it.
Well, that is the worry. He got a bunch of stitches. Needed 5 stitches last time out. So this habit of getting cut is becoming a bit of an epidemic for Scotty Cardle, and in the long term that is something to cause serious concern. But hopefully in the short term that is not going to stop him boxing at the end of April for the Central Area title. For what it's worth, I think my card and just about everybody else's card will say the same thing. He shut this fella out here, Yves Mesny, who certainly came to give it a battle, but Cardle had superior skills and looked pretty good, apart from that bit of damage there under the left eye.
Yeah, not a serious cut, but no, I don't see him being able to spar with that within the next couple of weeks, so maybe the other fight has gone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. After 4 rounds of boxing, referee Alvin Finch has scored this contest for Mesny 37 points, for Cardle 40 points. He's still undefeated. From Lytham, Scotty Cardle.
Scotty Cardle makes it 10 in a row in 1 year as a professional. Well, the big question, where does that leave his Central Area title fight against Maxi Hughes in 3 weeks' time? Hopefully it's still on, but as Jim says, that cut might just affect things in training and particularly sparring. We'll have to wait and see, but the bottom line is he comes out with another win, 10-0 as a professional.
Scotty, that was a warm-up fight for your April 20th clash. Is that now in jeopardy with that cut?
I'm not too sure yet. I haven't seen it myself. Everyone's told me that it's not too bad. I won't get the 28 days from it, so I'm happy in a way, but just some little silly incidents of getting my head in too close. I shouldn't be doing it, especially with jeopardising this title fight for me. But God willing, everything's okay.
Yeah, in hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But in hindsight, was it a risk that you didn't have to take?
What's that?
To take this fight before April 20th as a warm-up?
Didn't have to take it, no. Obviously, I'm fighting a southpaw on April 20th. I want to get just a move around with a southpaw, obviously. And thinking about it now, I didn't need that 4 rounds especially. But I've got it now, so I can't grumble.
Eddie, just quickly, looking at that, do you think it'll be in jeopardy?
Oh, I think he'd be fine. I mean, he needed that against the southpaw tonight. That was part of the plan, you know, in order to take the title fight. So the two came hand in hand. So no regrets. We'll go back, get a title. I think he'll be fine.
Wish you a speedy recovery.